Hi everyone. This week in reading, you'll be working on literature standards that focus on theme. Theme is the message or lesson the author wants the reader to learn. But for writing, we're going to work on writing our own narrative story in which we think about a theme that we could include in our story. When we think about narrative writing, it's a story that takes a reader through a passage of time, and thinking about some examples of themes as we get ready to plan, there could be themes of friendship, courage or bravery, overcoming challenges, meaning something that was hard and you were able to accomplish or achieve it, determination, meaning never giving up, and loyalty, staying true to someone or something. These are not the only themes that an author would use. These are just some examples. You might find some of your own throughout your reading this week, but I want to think about a theme that I might be able to write my own narrative story about when I begin my plan. So when I start my plan for my narrative topic, N goes at the top of my paper for narrative writing so that I remember I'm telling a story. T stands for my topic of what I'm telling a story about. And so I was thinking about some of these ideas of themes. Going back to school, there's definitely friendship, and even now as a grown-up, courage of being brave, overcoming challenges, and determination. And I started thinking about Mrs. Keegan. And my reader is going to need to hear the story about Mrs. Keegan's class. You'll notice that I did the apostrophe with the S because that class belonged to Mrs. Keegan. So I'm just going to set up a beginning, a middle, and an end. And I want to think about my middle main idea because there were lots of things about Mrs. Keegan's class, but I need to pick one idea that I can focus on. And so the idea that I'm going to focus on thinking about Mrs. Keegan's class is the writing assignment that she gave to us when we were in 6th grade. So when I have to think about this middle main idea, I want to think about what that writing assignment was and how I'm going to fit a theme into this. So the writing assignment was that we had to write a folk tale and that it was due on Friday. So here's a challenge of having to have a writing assignment to do, and it's due on Friday. I remember very vividly that I thought about giving up because that would be the easiest thing to do. So I'm just going to write the word easiest. But I couldn't do that. I worked hard on this assignment from Mrs. Keegan. So this is what I want to show the reader in my middle main idea, but in order to understand the whole story, I'd actually have to start now knowing with my middle main idea in mind where this story takes place and who I'm writing about. So where this story takes place, it's in a town called West Hartford, and notice that I have to capitalize the W and the H because that's the name of a city, and the state was Connecticut. And growing up there, I always remember the way that it's spelled is Connecticut. I had to practice that a lot as a kid growing up of how to spell Connecticut. And then I was in 6th grade. So that helps the reader understand a little bit more about when. But now I need those characters. Who is in my story? It was Mrs. Keegan, and I want to describe her a little bit to the reader. She had glasses. She had this hair that never moved, but notice I'm not writing sentences yet. I'm just giving quick ideas. And she was very stern, meaning she was very serious all the time, but I'd have to show that to the reader in my writing. However, I was the complete opposite. Mrs. Keegan called me a dreamer, which you would think dreams are happy, dreams are nice, but to Mrs. Keegan, being a dreamer was not good. So this was not a good thing for me to be, and she was not a fan of me. So we're going to put not a fan. So that's my beginning to help introduce the reader to my story. I'm already starting to think about my story, my theme about challenges, working hard, never giving up on this assignment. But my reader has to know what happens in the end of my story, that it was after lunch and that she actually chose my story. And it was because I put in that the hard work and determination. I didn't give up, even though I really wanted to, and Mrs. Keegan probably wouldn't have been surprised if I did. So my plan, my narrative topic is for Mrs. Keegan's class. Your job today is to think about a theme that you can write your own personal narrative story about. Happy planning!